Welcome to This Explainer. If you're listening to this right now, the source material we're unpacking today actually asks you to do something really simple before we even start. It asks you to just take a deep breath. Just let the noise of the day fade away for a few minutes. It frames itself as a direct, gentle, and real-time encounter, a message meant to bring profound peace to a weary soul. Think of it as a personal invitation to step right out of the chaos and simply be still.
Okay, let's dive into this. The text begins by speaking directly to a very specific, quiet kind of pain. Have you felt like you're just wandering through life, utterly exhausted, but keeping it all completely hidden from everyone else? The source acknowledges this heavy, unseen weight. It recognizes that you might literally be at the edge of breaking, feeling tired, unseen, and forgotten. It completely validates that exhaustion, acknowledging just how hard you've been trying to keep going, even when your strength ran totally thin.
And that brings us to Section 1, an urgent divine interruption.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how the text frames this very moment not as some random coincidence, but as an urgent intervention from God. It totally redefines the word emergency, right? Because usually when we hear the word emergency, we think of fear, panic, sirens, or some impending disaster. But here, it describes an emergency of divine love moving in your favor. It's the concept of God rushing in to rescue your soul from the shadows, simply driven by the fact that your peace and your destiny are way too valuable to lose.
Just listen to this direct quote from the author. "I speak to you because the moment has come. You almost missed this moment, but my spirit pulled you here." I mean, wow. That perfectly illustrates the powerful premise of this message, that this is a specifically orchestrated divine appointment. The air between heaven and earth is described as being totally charged with a love that has been waiting for this exact second to reach you.
The text emphasizes that every single word carries purpose and life, written specifically with your name upon it. When you unpack the emotional weight of that promise, the message is asserting that God is leaning in, literally whispering to you by name. It's the idea that before your day even began, you were intentionally chosen for this quiet encounter. It's offering a rescue that your soul has been desperately crying out for. Moving forward, we arrive at Section 2, Seen in Your Weariness. This part shifts thematically to focus intimately on the hidden battles you fight. The source observes, "I have seen you hold yourself together while no one else noticed how fragile you felt." That's such a message of profound empathy, isn't it? It validates the quiet storms and the heavy responsibilities you carry that literally nobody else knows about. The core idea here is divine awareness, that heaven has seen every single moment you pretended you were fine, when honestly, you absolutely were not. And here, the text draws a really stark contrast between the isolating noise of daily life and the truth of heaven. While the world's noise is just full of endless thoughts, screams, and distractions that totally drown out your peace, the divine truth is that you are held together by mercy. Even when you feel completely broken, the text insists you are deeply valued, carefully designed, and passionately loved.
So we now enter Section 3, the danger of drifting.
And this brilliantly illustrates what the text identifies as the real danger here, the disease, if you will, in our narrative framework. It's this subtle spiritual sleep. It warns us that drifting doesn't happen through some sudden loud rebellion. No, it happens through slow compromise, quiet distractions, and profound weariness. You accept less, you feel the divine presence less, and eventually you start to think that this numbness is just normal. But the text says God sees it and he refuses to let you just fade away. Right here is where we see the spiritual battle taking place in the mind. The enemy uses subtlety to whisper lies, right? Telling you that you're too late, too lost, too tired, or that your past mistakes have permanently disqualified you. But the text aggressively counters this with the truth of heaven. You are chosen. There's absolutely still time. You have a purpose, and your brokenness, it isn't a disqualification at all. It's actually the doorway for divine power to be made perfect in you. That leads us right into Section 4, a call to awaken. Shifting toward the cure, the text sounds this massive alarm of rescue. It makes an incredible claim, stating, "The same power that raised me from the grave moves in these words, ready to awaken your heart again." This points directly to the resurrection power of Jesus, freely offered to awaken your soul from its numbness. It's a divine call to rise out of your weariness and step right back into your purpose before you lose any more of your peace. Let's move to the next part and see how this builds, because the source actually outlines simple, direct steps to activate this divine defense. First, shake off the spiritual numbness. Don't accept the fog as your permanent reality. Second, lift your eyes and your heart. And third, step back into the light of obedience and intimacy. The message suggests that it's your willing response that allows heaven to move with full authority in your life. Finally, we reach our last thematic area, Section 5, the invitation to return.
So the crucial point is this incredibly tender invitation to return. The author states, you do not need to clean yourself up before coming home. It is in coming home that you will be made clean. Returning doesn't require perfection, performance, or some flawless track record. The price for every mistake has already been paid. What is sought isn't some perfect version of you, but rather an honest, messy surrender of the real you.
The text then provides these really comforting steps of return that outline a pathway to a close relationship with Jesus. Step 1, turn your hurt back. Step 2, lay down the heavy, exhausting weapons of worry and control you've been using to try and protect yourself. And finally, rest completely in His strength. You just don't have to fight on your own anymore. This divine presence will defend you so much better than you could ever defend yourself.
Now, if you've been wondering why you've had to wait so long or why you've endured such intense pain, the text offers this profound reassurance. Your delays were not denial, and they certainly weren't punishment. They were divine preparation. All of it was necessary to soften your heart, to remove the distractions that once held power over you so that you could truly hear, deeply receive, and be entirely ready for this exact moment of calling.
We'll conclude this explainer with a lingering, beautiful question based directly on the source's final plea. Will you open your heart to the rescue and answer the call to come home tonight? You are exactly the one this message was meant for. The dawn of a new beginning is absolutely ready to rise. I hope this structured journey through the text has offered you clarity, comfort, and perhaps a moment of profound peace. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.